hiding around the club that you look after, and you have a look under the old stage. In a box covered in dust, a treasure trove of old films, a unique record of life in Leeds in the 1950s and 60s. Well, it happened. They were found by Hunslet Boys Club's Jason Slack, who's with me now. Let's just get straight into these films. They are lovely, aren't they?
They're wonderful, aren't they? Yeah.
When you look at the first one here, we've got some old footage, 1950s gymnastics, the old-fashioned horse, and boys making pastry, Jason.
Yeah, well, this was shot in 1956 for a children's BBC newsreel at the time, so it was broadcast nationally, and I think they basically did a bit of a kind of a shot of different activities that were going on all through, you know, all through a typical day at the club. And it's great because you see shots like that of the kids doing cooking and things, and they're still doing that today.
When you opened that box, what did you actually see? Was it the old reels then?
It was, yeah, it was old reels, and it was old sort of, you know, kind of very dusty and, you know, and very dirty. So I kind of pulled it out into the light, and I thought, well, I bet there's something interesting on here.
Well, that's interesting because that's Hunslet Boys.
Yeah.
But the next one, I think, is absolutely stunning. And that shows the Queen's visit. I'm sure the voiceover was like that.
Yeah, oh, it's a lovely piece of film, this one. Yeah, this is the Queen visiting Crabtree's, a printing press manufacturers, in about 1958. And apparently the story of this, we found out since, is that it was rescued by one of the workers from a skip, pretty much, you know, the day before the factory closed down. And you know, they sort of put it under the club stage and forgot about it for Muggins here to find sort of.
I think they're absolutely lovely. We're going to have a much more in-depth look on them tonight. And those were the days, as they say, when boys made pastry. That's the bit I'm clinging on to.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Jason.
Right.
And I'm glad you dusted them all down for us.
Thank you.
Cheers. When's the last time you made pastry?
40 years ago.
You could be right. Here's the clue. Imagine this. You're doing a bit of tidying around at the local club. You take a peek under the stage in a box covered in dust, a treasure trove of old films.
I've never made pastry, come to think about it.
These
but they're a unique record of life in Leeds in the 50s and 60s. They even feature the Queen, and they were found by Hunslet Boys Club, as Danny Carpenter reports.
All eyes are normally on the stage, but just for once, the spotlight has fallen on the props beneath. Here, among the clutter of half a century, forgotten film of life in the 1950s.
A day that will always be remembered by R.W. Crabtree and Sons is October the 17th, 1958. For on that day, the company was honoured by a visit from Her Majesty the Queen and His Royal Highness Prince Philip.
That was 1958. 2 years earlier, the cameras were at the Boys Club. Remember those vaulting horses under the stage? Well, here's a terrified child on top, and here come all his mates. Out of puff from all that exercise, time for pastry making. There was also drawing, dancing, and disappearing.
These kids on here, they're what, 10, 12 years old. Are they still around now? You know, these people could be living just half a mile from here and have probably never seen this footage before. Word is starting to get out there about this footage, and you know, some of it's on the website now. And what we're finding is that, you know, you're getting one or two people coming forward saying, that's my uncle, you know, that's my aunt, that's me on the corner there.
In the assembly departments, the wives and relatives of employees eagerly awaited the arrival of the Queen.
Over the years, the footage and the dodgy accents went from black and white to colour.
This was filmed at Saddleworth in the 70s. There's every chance that some of these strapping young men are now strapping slightly older men, and that's the point of releasing all this footage. The club is 70 this year and planning a celebration. The icing on the cake would be to reunite some of the people who featured in these films, or at least learn their fate. Danny Carpenter, BBC Look North, Leeds.
Weeks ago, we showed you some old film of life in Leeds during the 1950s and 60s. A treasure trove was discovered under a stage by Hunslet Boys Club in Hunslet in Leeds.
Well, one of the youngsters in the film recognised himself and got in touch. It was more than 50 years ago. He hasn't changed a bit, and he's still up to his old tricks. Olivia Richwell's been to Filey to meet him.
One big moment in the life of a 16-year-old boy, caught on tape, lost for almost 60 years.
I'm surprised that I seem to be so assured, actually, being so young. And thinking at the time, I'm really not that good to be doing a thing like this, but the opportunity's here, and to make the best of it.
Magic became a lifelong passion, and then one Saturday night at the club, Alan found a different kind of happiness that's lasted for half a century.
Saturday night, we all used to look forward to it all week, and the girls used to queue up outside for the dance.
Once we got sat in there, we used to all sit in a crowd and just look round and see who we might like.
I'd never seen Shirley before, and she came with a friend from Belle Isle. And I can't tell you how embarrassed I was to ask her for a dance.
I think he asked another girl to dance before me. And then when he came and asked me, I felt as though I didn't want to say, yes, I'd dance with you, but I did.
The Boys Club is now 70 years old, and the old film was discovered under a stage during a clean-out. The footage captures an era when boys could seek sanctuary here and where talents were found and fostered, even when, after 58 years, you only have an audience of one.
I take a little hair out my head and I wrap it down and then just pull it there, fasten it. I usually take a pair of scissors then, cut the hair. Usually brings a smile and hopefully a big round of applause.
Olivia Richwald, BBC Look North, Filey.
Good old boy. Well
Imagine
played.
if you've been doing that every night for 58 years. No wonder it wasn't a big smile. Fantastic, I loved it. You're still brilliant.